So the big question is this: how are those in the self-storage industry like us going to be successful in today's market? That's the question, and this show will give you the answers. My name is Jim Ross, and welcome to the Self-Storage Show.
Hi everyone, this is Jim Ross with the Self-Storage Show. Today we're going to do something a little different, doing the Storage Spotlight series. A little slideshow presentation here. I got Steve Lucas, the CEO of the Storage Group, and Warren Lieberman, from the president of Veritec Solutions. How's it going, guys?
Excellent. Well, thanks. You're good.
Good. It's always amazing when technology actually ends up working, and we can see each other, and the slideshow's working. So the planets have aligned today, so we can get this going here. So I appreciate you guys coming on.
Great. Well, thanks. First of all, Jim, thanks for inviting us here today to show a little bit of special technology we've developed. I'm going to be handling the first set of slides along with Dr. Lieberman kind of closing up. But Dr. Lieberman's here from Veritec, and we're going to show you something, or at least talk about some real cool stuff. So we'll start off first with the integration that we've done. And what's amazing is just to kind of highlight the beginning parts of this is I just got done looking at a white paper that Yardi put out this morning, and the decline in street value. 31 markets, and each one of those markets except two has seen a decline in street value. So I think the integration and the value mapping is going to be extremely important moving forward, trying to recapture that revenue growth piece for the facilities. And also, I think it's got a very good play into the unit mix optimization that owners might be looking for. Dr. Lieberman?
Yep, we are very excited about this. We have seen value pricing enable small and mid-sized operators to get higher move-in rates for their more convenient units and basically be able to compete a lot more effectively with a lot of the larger portfolio companies. So we'll be talking more about that today, but we're very excited about the ability now that value pricing can become part of the reservation process on the website and enable it to be even more successful for the companies that are using it.
And let's just start real quick. I mean, just right off the bat, when we're talking about value pricing, first off, let's just kind of just for the audience here that's listening, what do we mean by value pricing?
So essentially, the value pricing methodology is a dynamic way of looking at which units are available for rental in each unit group, and then enabling the operator to charge a little bit more for the more conveniently located ones, whether they're near an elevator, whether they're one turn less down the hallway. It's a dynamic aspect where no longer does the operator have to choose the 5 units that are close to the elevator, separate them out in a separate unit group. Yeah. Now the methodology looks at whatever happens to be available, which are the more convenient ones. And up until now, it's been very difficult to bring that aspect onto the website when people are making reservations or looking at the inventory of a facility. So the 3D value pricing map now is the first time where an operator can actually extend the use of value pricing and make it more transparent to the customer at the time of viewing inventory on the website.
Cool. All right. No, I'm excited to get into this because, yeah, people that listen to me talk before, especially when I talk about revenue management, I that's one of the aspects I talk about is value pricing, or they probably heard me talk about like a good, better, best kind of model within a certain size code. So cool. This is great. Yep. Keep going, please.
Nice. Steve, you want to continue?
Sure. So we'll move along. I'm going to just give a brief overview of the Storage Group. We're a full-service digital agency to start with. Founded in 2009. We actually have, as of recently, the last 4 or 5 years, we've really started to develop our technology side of the business. We were the first company out there with a 3D size calculator. So taking a size calculator from a 2-dimensional piece to 3-dimensional. We came out with that technology about 5 years ago. And this is our next move into the technology curve with regard to the first of its kind integration with Veritec, that users on the UX side of the website can actually experience where these units are with respect to the facility as a whole. By floor, if it's multiple floors, they can see if they're going to be next to restrooms or major doors or gateways in the facility. It's amazing. And it just, again, you scratch your head and you say, well, geez, the airlines have had this for how long? And Expedia's had this for how long? And honestly, they don't have the 3-dimensional piece though, do they? Everything you see is in 2-dimensional. So that's why I think we've really hit the technology curve at a real high point here. Cool. So, yeah. So the next thing, just, the experience of the company. We've been around. We're celebrating actually our 10-year anniversary next year. We've got a lot of cool things that we're going to be announcing at shows and doing for shows, and really kind of toot our horn and have a real happy birthday.
Well, happy birthday. I'll be the first to say happy birthday to you then. All right, that's awesome.
Great. Thanks. So we're coming up on a 10-year anniversary. We have round about 30 employees that work directly in-house for the storage group. We have our own SEO team, our own AdWords campaign, PPC team, and our technology group and developers are all in-house. So it's a pretty strong group of folks that we utilize to develop this type of technology that we're talking about here.
Nice.
And so one of the technologies that is actually the foundational piece, and this is the Click and Store. It was the first online move-in tool that was developed and released back in 2011. So it allowed potential customers to actually experience seeing the unit tables, seeing what was available at a facility, allowing them either to reserve or to actually complete a full move-in. We utilized a real cool piece of technology or documentation in that there was no e-sign lease back then. So in conjunction with Scott Zucker, we developed a licensing agreement that was and still is legal in all 50 states. And so basically it's like the back of a baseball or football ticket. If you read the lingo, it says you can stay in that seat throughout the event. When the event's done, you need to leave. Yeah. Well, that's very comparable to what the licensing agreement provides. It allows a customer to actually get their gate code, move into a unit for a specific period of time, and then they need to execute the lease. If they don't, the facility legally can take control of all the possessions without going through any lien law. So it's pretty interesting. Yeah, I mean, the first Click and Store is the first online move-in tool, the first with the licensing agreement. We were the first with the abandonment email, where you get a little notice after, if you started the rental and you didn't complete it, we would send an email to that potential customer saying, did you forget your cart? You could, the facility could offer a special promo for someone to react on. So yeah, the first with 3D technology. I could keep going on with the first, but that's,
I was gonna say this is the first show. Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty good. Also, Click and Store is the only multilingual tool out there. We released it in Spanish back at the beginning of the year. So facilities that are in Latino markets, they can have an English version as well as a Spanish version. And
I didn't know that. That's great.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So that's the Click and Store, and that's the storage group. And then we're back to the 3D value pricing map, and I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Lieberman to get a little bit dirty here.
All right, dirty. I like it. Let's go.
All right. So at a high level, what is nice about the integration with value pricing and the 3D value pricing map is that when customers are looking for inventory, if they're looking for a self-storage unit online, and especially then when they want to reserve one online, the map provides a much greater level of transparency into the unit's location than has currently been available before. So one easy way to think about it, you know, I worked for American Airlines back in the 1980s. And in the 1980s, we knew that people would pay more for an aisle seat versus a middle seat. No brainer.
Yep.
But in the 1980s, there wasn't a good way to allow people to quickly select an aisle seat, and even if they were willing to pay for more, do so, because it was going through travel agents at the time. And then even in the early days of the internet in the 1990s, the capabilities of websites were relatively limited.
Sure.
Now, if you look at an airline website, virtually all of them have a seat map on the internet display. People can choose their seat. There's a certain price that's associated with getting an aisle seat versus a middle seat, and the airlines are being able to monetize that value.
Just did it this morning. Yep.
Okay, so now what has happened was the 3D value pricing map begins to bring that technology into the self-storage industry. And actually, in some ways, it's even more advanced what the airlines are doing because it is three-dimensional. It gives a better picture of the unit's location. And most people, while they're familiar with plane layouts, aren't really familiar with self-storage facility layouts. So the visualization makes it much easier for people to understand why a certain unit might be more expensive than another unit. And even if they don't choose to reserve the more expensive, more convenient unit online, they've already been prepped for when they go to the facility that they may be able to rent a more convenient unit. And so it kind of initiates the whole rental experience online even before the customer gets to the facility. So there's a very nice set of integration on this that allows value pricing with the 3D pricing map to become even more effective for the operator. And it just makes it easy for the customer to really better understand what the options are before them for the rental.
No, that's fantastic. Could have used that last week. I just opened up a new site to have. It was my very first customer that came into this location. I actually happened to be there, and of course, we spent the next 30 minutes walking the site, going, "I think I like that one. No, I like that one by the gate. No, I think I like this one over here." But yeah, so maybe if I could have circumvented that online a little bit, that could have helped matters, speed things along.
And this begins to solve, begins to solve a problem that operators have been dealing with, because again, if you go to a typical self-storage website, you know, it's a long list of units. Yep. And operators typically have to make some choices about how many prices they want to show, how many unit groups they want to show on the website, because it can get to be a long laundry list of unit groups, and sometimes it can get fairly confusing, especially if the store is an older configuration within a lot of odd size units. So this mapping technology begins to make a very nice improvement in all of that area.
Nice. I would say a confused mind is not going to make a choice. They're going to move on. So
that's exactly right.
So, yep.
Yep. If we go to the next slide, just to give you a feel for, you know, why an operator should even care about value pricing. And remember, the figures I'm about to give you are when value pricing has been used and it has not been integrated into the website display yet. So there are about 30, 40 companies using value pricing right now. Mm-hmm. The convenient units and their prices are typically only shown and made available to the customer when they get to the store. So right now, a lot of this information is being presented to the customer when they're at the site. We are now going to bring that capability onto the website, which will make the revenue production, the incremental revenue generation of value pricing even more. So right now, as a company, we're serving about 2,000 stores through about 40 customers. So from a revenue management, all what Veritec Solutions does is we provide capabilities to operators for enhanced pricing, for setting move-in rates, enhanced rent increases for their current customers, and for value pricing. Value pricing alone for larger facilities, and I'll say certainly facilities with 500 or more units, many of those facilities, after they've been implementing value pricing for a while, are now earning in excess of $2,000 a month in incremental revenue. And what I mean by that is if the standard unit is $100 and a more convenient unit is $110, and we total up the number of people who are paying $10 more, those $10 increments total about $2,000 a month or more at a larger facility. So it's enormously important from a revenue generation perspective. And as it gets tied into the website, should work generate even more revenue because more people will upgrade. Right now, the way it works is we provide the store managers with a daily sales plan. So maybe instead of using a vacancy report, they get a list of which units are available for which prices. So it makes it a very easy implementation. Typically, and you may be surprised to hear this, but typically at a store, 30 to 35% of the folks who rent a unit will choose to upgrade. And again, remember, they're not even learning about the upgrade process currently until they get to the store. So as they learn about the upgrade process online, I would anticipate that that 30 to 35% may grow to 45%, maybe more. For self-storage, when you're talking typically of an extra $5, $10, $15 to upgrade, it's much less than what a hotel or an airline would typically charge you for an upgrade. And as a result, the upgrade rates in self-storage tend to be a lot higher than in these other industries. So we're very, very excited about that. In fact, one element that we probably won't get into much today, but maybe we can do it on one of your future shows, is you can tie in value pricing into the rent increase process. So those folks who are renting more convenient units, now you have the opportunity to be more aggressive with your rent increases for them because you know you can also rent those units for a higher rate if somebody moves out. So again, not for today's discussion, but just maybe a little teaser for a future thought about that.
That's great. Yep. Perfect.
Okay.
And I love the good, better, best kind of that tiered pricing. And just going back just real quick, when you're talking about, some people, as far as upgrading for their pricing, a lot of times they're just them being presented with another price that's a little bit higher, the same size. It's just that perceived value. You don't even have to really get into a whole lot of exactly why. Some people just automatically want the better, unit, for a little higher price. It makes the selling easy.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And to your point about good, better, best, in fact, we have found that 3 price points are really successful, much more successful than just 2 typically. And while there are certain cases where 4 or 5 price points can be useful, the common way to do it is 3, because what it allows people to do is say, well, you know what, I would like a more convenient unit, but I don't necessarily need the most convenient unit. So it makes it easy to choose that middle level of convenience, if you will, the better instead of the good unit, but not the best. And maybe the operator will be getting anywhere from an 8 to 12% revenue bump when the better unit is rented. They may be getting an 18 to 25% bump in revenue when the best unit is rented. But typically, those will be folks who are really very, very low price sensitivity. More commercial folks might choose those. So in areas where a store has a lot of commercial base, again, higher upgrade rates, and more folks are choosing the deluxe or the best unit because they're really focused on making sure they've got the greatest convenience.
Yep.
Overall, we're seeing about 4 to 9% incremental revenue from move-ins when value pricing is used. Again, we'd anticipate that that'll go from 7 to 12, maybe even as much as 14% as it gets more tightly integrated with the 3D mapping process and the website display.
Yep.
And the nice thing is, whether you've got one unit, one store or hundreds of stores, you can use value pricing. It's easily scalable, and there are very small operators as well as very large operators currently using it.
Perfect.
Steve, I turn it over to you a little bit.
Okay.
Just
Yeah. So I think
question, if you have don't mind, just real quick question, because I'm sure I'm putting myself in the attendee shoes here, listening and watching this. You said there's small and large operators using this. Just real quick, I mean, how is it a plugin with how does it work with the storage software? Is it like a plugin that it uses, or is it a software that's standalone? How does that work with these small and large operators?
Okay. Typically, depending on what property management system they're using, we are integrated with some property management systems for value pricing now and getting integrated with more over time. But typically, it's all seamless. In other words, the data gets downloaded from the PMS operator to our system. The folks will work in our system to set prices. That data gets automatically transmitted up to the property management system. And then you will have like click and store and the 3D mapping accessing information, again, automatically from the property management system. So it's a very seamless integration. Once you set it up, there's a lot of it is totally automated. There's very little that needs to be done on a daily basis, which is why the stores and the operators really like using it, because it just doesn't put an operational burden on anybody.
Okay, that's what I was. That was my nice way of asking the operational burden of it. So it sounds like seamless up, the way it works together. So perfect. That's my question. Thank you.
Yep. Last week, in fact, we were talking to one operator, and it was the VP of operations. He said, VP of operations don't usually get excited about anything, but when we saw this, we got enormously excited and pumped up about what it could do. And so that it's really a nice feature.
Nice.
Yeah, and I agree. We were excited when we started this project earlier this year, and from our perspective, it has to do with the end user, which a lot of times vendors in this industry focus on the stores, right? But in my world, we have to focus on the end user, the customer themselves. What is their experience? And that's really powerful, because their experience with that store via an online tool is ultimate, right? If they have a bad experience, they can't find a unit. If the units aren't the sizes they're looking for. I mean, there's a lot of critical pieces to an online transaction, and this just makes it so much easier. The user interface is so nice, and it holds people there. It holds people to the conversion, and ultimately that's what the stores are looking for.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Steve is exactly right. Again, the better the experience on the website, the better the reservation process, the easier it is, the better the more transparent the information, the higher the conversion rate that the operator will see, and it just feeds on itself, whether through Yelp reviews, positive feedback. It all feeds on itself and improves things.
Wonderful. That's great. So I'm sitting here reading here. You got a webinar coming up, huh? All right, let me know.
We've got a webinar where our developer, along with Dr. Lieberman and a few other folks that will be joining, are going to talk about what the needs are for value pricing. Why is it important? Why is it something that should be considered? How does it work? And we'll be putting that on October 3rd, 2 o'clock Eastern time. You can sign up at any of our social medias. We're listed here. on our website as well. You'll be able to storageinternetmarketing.com, and it should be very enlightening with both of our teams. And I think I've got the world of respect for Dr. Lieberman and his team, and I hope it's mutual. I think we were excited all the way from the first conversation we had about this until the launch a couple weeks ago.
What was that domain again where they go to sign up?
So it's storageinternetmarketing.com.
Okay. Well, great. So look at the date here. Fine. So the time of recording this, I'll push up my launch date. We'll make sure we get this out before your webinar. We'll get some people on there for you. So I'll bump you up. All right.
Thank you. We're very excited about all of this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So how do people that are listening, watching this? How do they reach out to you? I mean, we got it here, but let's say it out for those that are listening on the podcast.
Yeah. So as far as the storage group, you can call us at 888-465-6247. That's on our dime. It's an 800 number, so they can call us from anywhere. Inside the States, outside the States, we have clients offshore as well. Email is sales@storagegroupinc.com. And again, there's our internet marketing site, which is storageinternetmarketing.com. And Dr. Lieberman?
Yep, we are at www.veritecsolutions.com. That's VERITEC solutions.com. Phone 650-620-0000. It's not toll free, but I guarantee you, if you work with us, we will make you more money than that phone call costs.
Awesome.
But we're delighted to look for a phone or info@veritecsolutions.com. If you send us an email, we will respond very quickly.
Oh, this is great. Well, it sounds like I know we're just kind of barely scratching the surface on what you guys do and what you're going to be offering. I'm sure the webinar will get much more in detail as well at the storageinternetmarketing.com. But again, hopefully some people listening and watching got some value out of this, because value pricing, there's a lot there. I've been doing it for a long time, but it's amazing how many sites just are leaving money on the table each and every month. So that this value pricing can be very, very impactful very quickly if you just implement it. So a tool like this can be very, very valuable.
I was very excited. Companies began using it about 5 years ago. We have a patent pending methodology on this, but the take-up rate the last 2 years has been very, very high. There's been a lot of interest, and we're thrilled to be working with the storage group to bring this from the store to the internet and reservation process.
And to your point, Jim, too, about the stores and the revenue piece, I have a lot of friends in this industry that are brokers, a lot. And that's the number one hurdle that they come across with valuation for properties is a lot of store owners are just not maximizing what they could. And unfortunately, in the long run, it costs them end game dollars, right? The stores don't sell for what they should sell for. So it sounds complicated, but it's really not. It's about making money. And the more you can make, the better it is. And utilizing tools such as Veritec and Click and Store just make that much easier.
Oh, well, perfect. Well, on that note, let's wrap things up, guys. Again, Steve, Warren, great to meet you. And we'll get this out here before the webinar comes out. So again, thanks for taking the time. I appreciate you guys being on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Bye.
Bye now.
Thanks for supporting the show. I want to let you know that we've just opened up our brand new free private Facebook group. There I'll be having some extra special content not found anywhere else. If you really want your facility to be a success in today's market, then this is going to be the place for you. You can request to join us at selfstoragecommunity.com or search for Self Storage Domination Community on Facebook.